It's a beautiful day for some football.
Hello and welcome to Sports Tavern Talk. I'm your host, Elijah Loyola. I know it's been a long time, but I'm back. And right now, we're getting started with the 2026 NFL Preseason Opener. And right now, that Hall of Fame game between the Cardinals and the Panthers was phenomenal. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to get into all the nitty and gritty things here that happened in Week 1 of the preseason. And there have been phenomenal, outstanding performances. But for now, let's take a look at what the final scores had us guessing from Week 1 in that preseason. Week 1 sure had an interesting slate of games as we start off between the Packers and the Steelers. The Steelers get the win at home 28-9, and both young QBs in Drew Aller and Will Howard both played phenomenal as the battle for the QB2 position still goes on even with Mason Rudolph most likely winning the job. But we'll see both of these QBs can get that going in their next game against the Jets. Moving on to the Cardinals and the Raiders, both to Jeremiah Love and Fernando Mendoza both get the nods. Both looked pretty good and cannot wait to see how both of these rookies will fare out. But we got some news from Jeremiah Love coming up next. And lastly, the Bears defense put a clinic on the Browns as they put up multiple sacks and turnovers as they look to continue to improve their defense for their next upcoming season, in which everybody has high hopes for with Caleb Williams and Van Johnson. Getting into the Jeremiah Love situation, he did suffer a high ankle sprain that would momentarily put a halt to his season debut out in Week 1 for the Cardinals. By then, at that point, he did show some small flashes, however, that will definitely hurt his stock among the running back room. However, once he does return to the team, most likely we will all see him back in that offense that features lots of great players, including himself, with Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Marco Wilson. But for now, let's go into see how other players' stocks fared after Week 1. Alongside Jeremiah Love, there are two other quarterback rooms that everyone is keeping an eye on. Starting off with Tua, and his preseason debut for the Falcons was not great to say at the very least. He struggled out there playing at least only one drive with little to none completions and almost fumbling a snap as a turnover. Not to mention then for the Cleveland Browns, their quarterback battle still ongoing as there not been a named starter as the battles goes between Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders, and Dylan Gabriel. Even though Tua did have a bad performance then, the Falcons are still leaning towards him to probably be the named starter for the Falcons in Week 1 of the 2026 season. However, Michael Penix is soon close to returning to the Falcons and will most likely compete with Tua for that QB1 spot. But speaking of which, for the Browns, it is always a difficult battle to see who will get that named spot. And quite honestly, it's still going to be a tough decision to make as all three of those quarterbacks struggled against the Bears defense, mainly their backups. By far, Deshaun Watson did have the best performance on the day, finishing 11 of 15 for 126 yards. However, he did lose a fumble during the game and took a sack. But yet, that's better than both Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel combined. Sanders finished 6 of 11 for 79 yards while throwing an interception, and Dylan Gabriel had 5 of 8 for less than 60 yards and took 2 sacks while also throwing another interception. Todd Monken will definitely have his hands full trying to figure out who will be the starting QB for Week 1. But in any case of how things should go, Watson is clearly the more skilled quarterback, but it wouldn't stall the issue of who will be for the future. In any case then, the Browns still have 2 more games to get through and decide who will be the Week 1 starter. In any case, if Gabriel or Sanders make a stand, or if Deshaun Watson will be the clear favorite. On the other hand, there have been quite a few performances that did stood out among the rest of the others. Starting off with Deshaun Stribling, who by far we all thought was a reach pick for the 49ers, but that was certainly not the case in his performance against the Titans. The same can be said for Ty Simpson, which shocked the world how the Rams picked him with a number 13 spot, but yet he played outstanding. Not to mention though, for the Commanders in their running back room, the rookies between Robert Henry Jr. and Kaytron Allen both made a statement in which some might believe both of these can have their stock rising up in the running back unit. Stribling has been making huge waves at 49ers training camp with his great hands and outstanding play among the offense. In their last preseason game against the Titans, Stribling had finished with 7 catches for 63 yards. A couple of those were big play catches that he made an outstanding play that had the crowd in awe. Among all the injuries to the wide receiver unit and to the team as a whole, Stribling could see his stock rising up among the offense and will clearly be a top target for Brock Purdy in this Kyle Shanahan offense as they look towards to getting back to the playoffs and having a healthy roster for the next season. Moving on to the preseason game between the Rams and the Chiefs, Ty Simpson certainly made waves with how he performed against the Chiefs defense, finishing with 21 completions out of 25 attempts for 190 yards and 2 touchdowns. Quite frankly, it is incredible how he was selected with a 13th pick, but most certainly, he showed the world that he was the right choice for the Rams as the near future once Matthew Stafford retires. In all case, Simpson won't be able to be the QB1 for the Rams in the 2026 season, but certainly nonetheless, he's looking to be QB number 2 behind Stafford and continue to develop with his help and Sean McVay's, as he is likely to be the next franchise quarterback to take over. I can't talk about just one rookie, I need to talk about 2 of them, as they both play for the same position for the Commanders. Both Kaytron Allen and Robert Henry Jr. shined in their preseason debut game against the Miami Dolphins. Both running backs finished with 75 plus yards and each scored a touchdown. Both of these guys had great patience, precision, and great contact balance in which they made themselves a star in their debut. Rachaad White, who is one of the backs in their unit, is dealing with a hamstring issue, but is of course still going to be available for their Week 1 game. And the same thing goes for Bill, as he will be the RB1 for this offense. But I have to say, both of these guys here are making a chance to have them on the starting unit. And honestly, I hope both of these guys make the 53-man roster for the Commanders, as this young but talented running back unit will certainly be a fun thing to watch. Congrats to all the rookies that made outstanding performances and debuts for their team, and good luck to all those who are making the 53-man roster. But anyways, let's move on and go to some news around the league, and unfortunately there are some breaking news to start out with. Going off to Houston first. Wide receiver Jaden Higgins suffered a torn ACL in a joint practice with the Las Vegas Raiders and will end his 2026 season. Higgins, going to his 2nd year, was looking forward to be a big piece for this Houston offense. However, with him sidelined out, the Texans will have to find a little way to bring in more weapons for CJ Stroud and their offense. The same thing can be said for Chargers offensive lineman Tyler Biadasz, as he also is sidelined with a serious knee injury that will put him out indefinitely for the 2026 season. Once again, the Chargers continue to struggle to find healthy offensive linemen for their team. However, head coach Jim Harbaugh has not ruled him out for the entire season. If the Chargers were to make a push, he may come back to the team. Allen, who was once a free agent in this offseason, has signed with the Indianapolis Colts when reuniting him with Shane Steichen and his offense. Allen last played for the Chargers last season and finished with 81 catches for 777 yards and scored 4 touchdowns. Allen comes into a banged up wide receiver unit to give much needed help for Daniel Jones. Alec Pierce, who is going to be the number 1 starter, will also be available for the season. So him, Allen, and alongside others, including rookie Deion Burks, will help bring Daniel Jones back to his old form before he tore his Achilles during the season. And another veteran in Trayvon Diggs gets a new start as he signs a 1-year deal with the Seattle Seahawks. Yes, Tariq Woolen did leave the Seahawks in free agency to sign with the Eagles, But alongside with Diggs, they did get Terrion Arnold. However, he will be on the commissioner's exempt list and will probably miss some time for the season. In the meanwhile, Diggs will come in and become another piece for the Seahawks defense as they look to go back-to-back in Super Bowl championships. And big news for Bucs fans, Vita Vea did sign a new one-year extension worth $30 million to stay put with the franchise. Vita Vea now being back, and as he's recovering from a back injury, would help this revamped Bucs defensive front as they look towards to get themselves back to the playoffs and being a top team among the NFC contenders. Before we end today's video, let's take a look at the top 10 plays of the week 1 of the preseason, and we start off at Acrisure Stadium for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Like this, every time he touches the ball, he's got to block. He's got to build his confidence. Aller
Sings it over the middle. Has Weegen's going to turn on the steam. Hayden Weegen is on his way. Will he get caught? Turns it on extra. 10-5 down to the 2-yard line.
His hamstring turf toe missed 2 full seasons. Inside run. Allen breaks free. Braylon Allen will take it the distance. Touchdown, Jets. A 31-yard rip.
From the 15-yard line. Dart with time. Now Dart to the outside. Fires it into the end zone. Touchdown Giants. Malachi Fields. That's why they drafted the rookie out of Notre Dame at 6'4". Threw it up.
It's just another example. We talked about it in the opening. The movement and the accuracy by Jackson Dart going on the run. And, you know, at first you think, uh-oh, he's going outside.
On 3rd down, Rush Cummings is intercepted. It's picked off. Tampa Bay's got a chance down the sideline. Garnes, touchdown. And just like that, the Buccaneers with an opportunity to tie.
It's on for Howell again, puts his foot in the ground, fires towards the end zone, and it is caught. And that is the rookie that they have been talking.
Just went up and made the combat catch. Look at him fighting for position right there with the corner. Makes the adjustment on the football and goes up and grabs it. And again, we know if both the defender and the receiver have their hands on
Lands in. Milton. Will go fade back toward the end zone. Camden Brown has another.
That was a great catch, and I mean it in a good way. Look at this, threatened inside, and then goes behind Dansby with the one-handed catch.
Yeah, if I'm Dansby, I would not look at my Twitter, I would not look at my TikTok, I would not look at my Instagram. I would let it die down for about 2 to 3 days because you can touchdown.
Rush. Tip ball, and that one's intercepted. Headed the other way. Jahdae Barron all the way. The pick 6. 98 yards. Top and the rookie, Kendall Daniels, number 53. Keep an eye on him. Heck of a catch there. Wow. What a catch by Courtland Sutton. And that looked like it was almost pass interference as well. A 16-yard completion. That was the first pass after 4 straight runs.
Yeah, you watch C.J. Henderson. He's like he got good coverage, and maybe
They've had a good quarter so far.
Wentz throws the fade. Price with the catch for the touchdown.
Wow. That's a good throw. Really a heck of a catch. It looks like there's no way. Oh.
Miles Price, who was signed as a undrafted free.
Huge. Willis looking to the right side. Is the catch made?
I think he's got.
Doesn't it look safe to say he made up for stepping out of bounds on that last one, Rigo?
Yes.
Well, I was going to say that's a little disappointing this early in the game that they're having that kind of success. I mean, you know, the first.
That's all the time for today. Thank you so much for watching Sports Tavern Talk, and keep an eye out for the next video after Week 2 of the NFL preseason. And as always, I will see you next time.